My first live stream, I thought I'd give this a try, see how this goes. So bear with me if I make some mistakes here, okay? All right, so I had an idea, which is number one, to go live. Number two, to take a look at the service desk application. So I have my screen sitting here, so I went in to create PowerApp, and I went into the templates. Of course, you'll see a link off to the side. It'll show you all the templates, and some of these templates look really cool. Now, one of these is working in IT for the past 20 years. A service desk ticketing application seems really interesting, really cool thing if you don't already have one. Now, what's nice about this application template is it gives you the choice between a tablet and a phone. So that's sort of cool. But, all right, so I'm going to say in here, service desk, and we'll call this YouTube Live. All right, so I'm going to click Create. And something we're going to find out here in a moment is this application actually doesn't work. So if you've ever tried to use this, perhaps you're a manager in IT, or you're somebody that works in information technology. You could have all kinds of different roles. Maybe you're a service desk technician, and you guys are managing all your tickets through emails or through spreadsheets. So you might have heard about this app, or maybe in PowerApps you saw this, like, oh, this would be cool, so we could use this. So let's take a look at this. So at the very top, whenever you use one of these templates, you always get this thing at the top that says, make your own version of this app by connecting to data storage. Now, let me zoom in here. This is a little small, okay? It's a little better, all right? So you always have this choice. Now, a lot of these application templates, they're only going to connect you to some type of cloud storage for files, okay? So to be honest, what I want to connect to is a SharePoint site. That would be really nice. Connect to a SharePoint site, create all the database tables in SharePoint, SharePoint list. Why not use the Dataverse? Why not use SQL Server? If you have a SQL Server to use, why not make use of that? But you don't have those choices here with this application template. I'd say between these two, if you have an Office 365 license, which more than likely you do if you're using PowerApps, I'd rather use the OneDrive for Business. So I'm going to click Done. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to create an Excel spreadsheet file. And if you click the OneDrive, don't think for 1 minute that it's going to create Google Sheets and connect to Google Sheets. No, it's going to, I believe I've done that before. I created an Excel document, and you connect to it from OneDrive. So you're really not getting anything there, okay? So the first thing I noticed when I opened this up is all these errors. Okay, so I thought this was a good example to sort of step through and sort of tweak things, get things to work. Especially you got errors all over the place, and this was probably released. What you'll notice with these application templates, they've been out there for a while, and when you open them up, there's some things that just look different. So first of all, the dimensions of the screen are really odd, okay? But number two, you don't see data sources off here to the left, do you? Okay, so we'll address that. So there's errors all over the place, and things within PowerApps are in different locations. So anyway, all right. So I've got a little window over here for chat. It looks like somebody said, "Hi, the sound is repeated." Okay, so sorry about that. Let me see if I can figure that out, because that would be annoying. I'm not sure how to fix that. Maybe if I turn down desktop audio. I'm hoping that fixed it. Hopefully. So I'm using OBS to stream here. And I spent a little time trying to figure that out. And I think perhaps what's going on is OBS is taking the audio from my computer and throwing that into the stream, which I don't want. So, anyhow, let me see if I can pull up my YouTube channel here and see if let me see if I can. Okay. So I don't know. Hopefully it's not too annoying. I'm looking around. I don't want to spend too much time in the live stream trying to fix that problem. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll probably have to look at that later. So anyway, so there's a few things that we need to figure out here. So all these errors, the data source. So it's using an Excel spreadsheet, and we need to get it out of Excel because there's a lot of issues with using Excel spreadsheet as a data source. So it's really an awful data source. If you're going to work with PowerApps, I recommend either using SharePoint, Dataverse, or SQL Server. One of those three. Now there are some other good ones. There are some other good connectors that connect to a relational database system, perhaps Postgres, or MySQL. I mean, those are real database sources. So I haven't used those with PowerApps, but I'm sure they would be decent or good. But Excel is awful, and it's awful for the one reason that I found, which is if you opened up that Excel document right now, if you opened up OneDrive and opened up the Excel document, what you're going to find out is that once you open it, you can't connect to it from the PowerApps application. So if it can easily get locked. So only one person can be in it at once. So that's a huge problem. So that's the first thing that I would want to do is get that out of Excel, get it into a SharePoint. We need to fix these errors, and I sort of need to show you how to get at the data source and how to see that. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you guys is what this database, this Excel spreadsheet looks like. Okay, so if you were to open up the spreadsheet that it created for this, now if you use OneDrive, go into your OneDrive, there's a folder called PowerApps, so you go in there, and then I think there's a subfolder called templates, and you'll find it in there. So you open that up, and now this is a separate copy, so it's not going to give us any problems. But if you were to open it and try to go in there and try to mess around with the app, it's going to tell you it's locked. But so all these tabs at the bottom are all the different data sources that we have in this app. Okay, so let me move that off screen. Let me go into View, Data Sources. Okay, so these are all the tabs at the bottom. Okay, so let me pull this in here. And what you'll notice if you do connect to an Excel spreadsheet through PowerApps, what you're going to notice is all these data sources, they have to be in a table format. So if you have some data in an Excel document, in a spreadsheet, you want to pretty much, let me do all this. Select it all like this, and format as table. So if it's not already a table, it needs to be formatted as table. And obviously all of these have been formatted as a table, otherwise it wouldn't work. But these are all the database tables, all these different tabs. Okay. So anyway, we need to recreate all this with SharePoint. Okay. So we will do that. But you notice the data sources isn't over here. So what I had to do, we were over here on the Home tab, and we didn't see it here. So we could go into View, and then data sources right there. And I think it's because that this was created in a much older version of PowerApps, which sort of confuses me, because if you go in here to File and go into Settings, what you'll see here you can actually make PowerApps go to a different version. I think it might be under support. There it is. All right, so under authoring version, if I go in here to edit, the current version is this 2231. And we are using the very latest version. Now we can move forward, it looks like, but it's recommended that we use that one. So it's not like it's stuck back in some old version, but perhaps it was because it was created in an earlier version. There are some things just you have to go in and sort of tweak and fix. But yeah, having the data sources over here is sort of annoying. So if I go into multimedia, there's multimedia. We've got advanced tools. I don't see data sources though. So that's one thing I wanted to make clear. View data sources if you want to get at that. Okay, so some I'd like to address now are all these errors. What's going on here? Well, if you go in and look at these errors, it's addressing the columns in the underlying data source, but it's not referencing them the way that you would do it these days, which is this item. So this item is a keyword within PowerApps that allows you to reference the current record there within that row. It's this item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all that, this item, dot, and I'll go around to each of these, and sometimes the spacing's a little off, so I'm going to paste there. Now something I can do is, once I'm done fixing all this stuff, I can upload this document up into my my Git repository, so you guys can download it from there. So if you're watching this video later on and you just want to download what I've done here, you could get at that. So I need to remember to paste a link in the description so you guys have access to that. So here's an assign to. Okay, and I like to have some good spaces in there. Now, what's weird is there's actually some other fields in here. Okay, so we have a gallery here for the navigation, it looks like. So we're not interested in that. We're interested in this one over here. And we need to make sure all these controls have been set up properly. Okay, so these are the ones that we fixed. There's an icon, so that's the next button. That's good. There's a little coloring rectangle there. All right, so I'm going to look up here at the chat here. It says, I think it's some kind of sound effect that echoes the sound. Cool. Rachel says, glad to be here. Sound is echoing. Yeah, I do apologize, guys, about the echoing. I need to figure that out somehow. I don't know why it's echoing. This is my first live stream, so I know I've got a lot to learn. Man, I wish I could figure that out. I don't want to sort of stop the live stream and try to figure that out. Because that would be boring for you guys, and I don't know that I'd be able to fix it, within a few minutes, or, maybe I could do a quick search. Maybe I'll devote some time. I see that somebody else says yes. Please fix the sound. Okay, so let's try to figure this out. Let's see, OBS sound echoing. Let's see if we can figure that out. Simply go into File and then Settings. Okay. And in Settings, go to Audio. Okay, so I'll go there. And then, let's see more. Go ahead and disable all of the devices, see if that stops. Disable. Disabled. Okay. All right. Now here's the question. Did it fix it? Hopefully it did. So I'm going to bring up, it says turn your volume down, maybe helps. Okay. So I want to open my live cast here. Well, listen to myself here. Hello? Disable. Okay. All right, here's the question. Did it fix it? It doesn't sound like it. So I'm going to bring up so turn your volume down. Okay, so I want to open live cast here. Well, listen to myself here. Hello? Disable. Okay. Test 1, 2.
All right. Here's the question. Did it fix it?
Oh, it did fix it a little bit. Okay.
It doesn't sound like it.
And then my audio stream is a little behind. Oh, I think I did figure it out there. Okay. Test 1, 2.
All right. Here's the question. Did it fix it?
Oh, it did fix it a little bit. Okay.
Doesn't sound like it.
Test 1, 2. Test.
My audio stream is a little behind.
Oh, did it fix it?
I think I did figure it out there.
Yay! All right. Well, I've got a huge thanks to you guys for bearing with me for that. And so I apologize. This is a big learning experience for me. So I'm glad I was able to figure that out. You know, Chris, my biggest fear in something like this, doing something live, is that I could be sitting here for 10, 20, 30 minutes and not quite getting to the bottom of it. So thank you for bearing with me. And I'm sorry about that. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back through all these different controls that are within the gallery here. So there's one, we have the ThisItem dot in there. Okay, there's an assign to, so that's a different label than the one beside it, it looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna go through each of these. So there we go, this item assigned to. Now I know I did open this project up and sort of look at things. So this is one here. So there's a little description field here. Let's put a little, maybe a little dashed something here and make it a light gray so you guys can see that it's there. And then for the background, I'll put something there. Okay, so you see there actually is a text box. Now, this seems really strange. So there is a rectangle on top of everything that's sort of keeping me from clicking on individual controls. So that's something else annoying. About this. So we're sort of discovering this application here. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm looking at you guys' chat here. All right. Very good. Cool. All right. So this one right here, this is, so it just says subject. So what's weird is this label and the previous one I was just clicking on, they weren't giving us errors. So that's why I had to sort of go through this item and make sure those are all set up right. Okay. Well, we need the description there. So this item dot description. Very good. Very good. All right. Now, I know that we do have some tickets in our data source. There we go. Okay, so now we have the data showing up. And for some reason, once I was fixing it, it wasn't showing up, so I had to click on a different, not maybe a different screen, but these different things here, okay? Okay, so we have fixed the errors on that screen, but what I'd like to do is click on these different screens here, and we'll see. Okay, so this is a ticket editing screen. So let's go in here. Let's actually click on this one by click on this little arrow off here to the side. And here we go. And now I'm going to click on the X and I'm going to look for any red X's. And I think that's all good. Now, what I do know is, because I sort of investigated this before I did the live stream, is we have some screens that allow us to pick items, sort of like a drop-down list, but actually goes to this other screen. And it's the same issue. So we'll go in here and we'll look at, well, this is a group. There's a text box. Let's click on that. And there we go. So it needs this item dot. So I'm going to paste that. So now we've got some people in here. All right. So every once in a while, I'll look up for any comments that you have in chat and see if you guys have any questions or anything. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in there. So again, this item dot, there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Okay, so as I'm moving along, as I get this working, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys, what do you guys want to add to this application? So if you guys are interested in this application template, actually using it, is there any type of modifications to this app that you guys would like to see me do for you here on the live stream? Okay, so let's go through and let's add a new ticket. So they got a little plus sign up here. So I'm going to click on that. And so this is interesting here. So created by. So if I was writing this app, to be honest, what I would want to do is I would want to automatically populate who it was created by. Maybe put the user's name in there. So we could do that. Now, perhaps they don't want that in there because let's say somebody calls up the service desk like, hey, I've got a problem with my computer. And the people actually using this ticketing software aren't the people actually creating the ticket, like initiating the ticket. But, you know, we could open this up so that other people could. So in order to do that, so this actually looks like a form. Okay, yeah, new ticket form. So this is a form. And what is this over here? Is this a separate form? Well, this is interesting. So what they have, how they built this is they have a form, PowerApps form here on the side, and then you've got these controls over here. That's sort of interesting how they did that. You think it would just, if they're going to use a form, they would just put everything in one form. All right, very good. So in order to pull that in there, so we could say, if that parent.default, if the length of it is 0, say user full name. Otherwise, we'll use what is in there. Okay, so we could do that. Now the length, len, is a function that you give it some type of a string or text, and what it's going to do, it's going to give you a numeric value of how many characters are in that. Okay, so if it is 0, okay, and it did put my name in there, very good. And you know, for the subject, you know, you might want to put a hint text in here, like short description of the problem, you know, to sort of help out the user, like, hey, what is it that I should be typing here? It's not like an email, right? So this sort of feels like an email. It's got a subject line and a body. And then for the hint text for description, say thoroughly describe the problem here. Okay, so let's go through these options here. So there's a priority. Everybody that wants a ticket created, they always think it's the highest priority. So it's good that it's defaulted to low. But they could ask them like, hey, is this a high, medium, or low? The area. Okay, so perhaps this will be the department in which it was originated. So maybe somebody in IT is having a problem with their computer, and they're not a support technician, so they might need help from somebody else in IT. So these are, I would imagine any organization is going to have a lot of departments, especially if it's a medium to large size company. So anyhow, so these are the 3 areas we have to choose from. Okay, and let's pick HR, and the problem is, let's say the computer won't boot up. Okay, and the description, no matter what the user does, the computer won't boot up. And all right, so I'm going to click on this create ticket here. So we notice we have 11 tickets total, 1 new ticket. So those 2 should go up by 1. Okay. Okay. Now there for a second, I thought it was frozen because this application doesn't have any spinners. But what I did notice is sort of subtle at times, especially if you're not looking for it. You see those little dots going across the top of the screen. That's sort of the built-in weight spinner type of thing that PowerApps does. Okay. All right. So what we have here, let's see if we can go find our ticket. Well, we got 12 and 2, so we know it's in there. So let's click on new tickets. There we go. Computer won't boot. And I just clicked on it, so it brought this up. And so there's something I want to fix. If I was working on this application, if I go to Alt Tickets, let's actually click on this gallery here and open this. Looks like a big mess, doesn't it? All right, so open this code window as much as possible, and we'll click on this format text. Okay, there's no sorting. Isn't that crazy? All right, so it's going to look at the type. All right, so whatever type they've selected over here, based on that, it's going to have a different dynamic query. Okay. Okay, so we've got if statements, if, okay, tickets older than 3 days, tickets open a day. Do you guys see that? All right, so what we can do is we can wrap a sort function around everything. Okay, what do we want to sort on? Created, date created. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'd want to see all the newest tickets at the top. So I'm going to say descending, which is the third optional parameter of sort. Okay, now I'm going to click on this format text again. So it's going to sort of indent everything for me. Okay. So now let's look at things. So my ticket should be at the top, and now it is. Okay. All right, very good. So now the tickets are easier to find. What else we want to do? So this sort is happening. Okay. Here, because it used to be down there. All right, what other things do we want to do? Now I'm watching the chat here, and I don't see anything that you guys have entered in that you want to do. But one of the big things that we need to do is we need to get all this data into SharePoint. Okay, so now what I did do before I started this live stream is I went over, I created a SharePoint site called PowerApps Service Desk. And then I clicked on Site Contents. So there's no lists here besides the default ones that were created. Okay, so I know that I've got a few to create here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new list. And what's great is because we have a spreadsheet that's already created here. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see here. What happened to all my stuff? Let's see if I can make that come back up. Okay, very good. So within Windows, if you got a window and you shake it a little bit, it will minimize everything. And so I just did that again, shaked it, everything in. So I've got 4 screens here, so it was quite the drastic effect. Okay, so what we're going to do, because we already have an Excel document, we're going to create a new list from Excel. Okay, now I think what I might do, I hate to show how disorganized I am when I click on upload file and all my files are showing and everything's sort of disorganized. Okay, so there's service desk data. I'm going to open that up, and it says the file's in use because I have it open in Excel. So if you're going to upload, create a new site from the Excel document, you need to make sure that you close it first. Okay, and now, if you have it opened, if you have that Excel document hosted in OneDrive, if you've been following along, there is a copy there. And if you try to open that one, because PowerApps is connected to it, you might need to make a copy, like save it on your desktop, which is what I've done. And just make sure nothing is connected to it or have it opened. So now it should work. Now that I closed Excel, but just keep in mind, if PowerApps is connected to it, it might sort of be locked. So make an offline copy. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I brought this down. So it's got all the data here. This is nice. And I want to import all this data. I don't want to have to re-enter all this test data again. So all I did was I clicked Browse. I selected that spreadsheet file. And I see the first one. Okay, so it's got all of our different tabs that we had there. So the first thing would be tickets. Okay, let's do that. Let's import tickets. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Now, I can tell you from experience, importing data from Excel A little bit of pain in the butt here, because look at this. Single line of text. Well, this is a date. This is a date field. So I don't want to create it as a single line of text. I want to create a date. So, okay. Well, let's see how it deals with this. Sometimes I've seen it create a weird number out of dates. Okay. And this is a PowerApps thing that it adds to each table within a spreadsheet list. There will always be this PowerApps ID. I guess it's sort of like its own like unique identifier it creates for you, but there's also an ID. I think that was in the spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm just going to click on next. Hopefully everything goes okay. And gee whiz, there we go. Service desk data. Now that was tickets. So I'm going to create this as tickets. And I don't want those things to show up on my navigational bar. Typically I don't do that. So I have tickets there. And I am going to open up that file real quick on another window. Okay. And I just what I'm thinking is I need to make sure that file, where did it go? Yeah, I'm going to make a copy of it so I don't mess this up. Okay. It's important that it has the exact same name as that tab. Okay, so let me bring this down here. So tickets, okay. So I just need to make sure there's also a, if you click in here. Okay, do you see this? So this tab at the bottom isn't what names the data source, the table itself. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with creating tables within Excel, but what you do is you select everything, boom, and you hit back over here on home. You say format as table. And a lot of times I'll just call it table 1. It's very annoying. If you guys want to see an example of this, one of my first videos on this channel was about how to connect PowerApps to an Excel data source. And it happened in that video. It created as table 1. And it was only I believe it was only a single table example. So I just left it as. But what you want to do is go over here, and this is the table name. Okay, so you can change it there. So I just wanted to open that just to make sure that it was called tickets. And I'll explain why as soon as we get back over to PowerApps in a moment. Okay, so here's tickets. I'm going to click create, and hopefully it brings this over. Okay. Okay, this is looking good. Very good, very good. All right. All right, so now we just need to do it for all the others. Okay, so we have tickets. Add in a new list from Excel. And let's do ticket types now. And I'm going to bring this off screen so I'm not embarrassed by my disorganization here on my desktop. Okay, so we want to pick ticket types. Okay. So we don't want to change our column names. Okay, that would be bad because we're referencing those things within PowerApps right now. We don't have to go around everywhere and change column names. So I'm going to say single line of text. Okay, ticket types. So hopefully that works as intended. Okay, ticket types. And over here in Excel, I'm going to click over on, I'll show you what I'm doing here. Click ticket types here. I'm going to select all the data here. So now we have table design, ticket types. I just wanted to make sure that table name was right. Ticket types, you want to make sure all the names are the same. Okay. Okay. Well, that's strange to put the ID into title. Okay. But we have ticket types and we don't have to rename that. So now what I'm curious about is if we go back to the first one, tickets. See, it created title in here. And over here in the spreadsheet, it's called owner. You see? So I'm almost tempted to to sort of blow that away and yeah, I don't want to have to fix that in the app. So I'm going to delete that one real quick and recreate from Excel. Upload file. Okay. Okay, see where it says title. We're going to change that over to single line of text. Oh, and it doesn't want to import our ID. Wow, that's sort of strange. You know what's funny about it made this title too. Look at that. It wants to make something a title. So what happens if I were to take this ID and make this title? Yeah, I don't care about that ID thing. Okay, single line of text, single line of text. And to be honest, I sort of want to import that ID. But, oh, you know what? SharePoint has an inherent ID built in every list. That's why it won't import it. It would be nice if they gave me the choice to call it something else. But yeah, see, the spreadsheet has ID. Now we could have given this a different name from ID, so it wouldn't be a conflict with SharePoint. Now everything is pretty much sequential, and this is test data, so it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, but I just want to make sure this was not title, that it's actually owner, because again that column is referenced. Okay, so I'm going to click next. All right, tickets. All right. Create. And let's see here. Okay. All right. So we got tickets. Okay, there, owner, status. Okay, very good. So there's 2. Okay. And let's open up here. All right, so now we need a filter by. All right. So I'd have to admit that this isn't very exciting stuff, importing lists from Excel, but it's necessary if you're wanting to do this type of thing here. So this is going to be filter by, and we're going to make this title single line of text. Filter by. Create. All right, there we go. All right. So these next few should go a little faster here. So we've got 3 down and 4 to go. New list from Excel. The file. And we got filter by. We need drop down status. Okay, so this is a good example of, so it says drop down status on the tab, but if I go to table design, it says case status. Isn't that funny? All right, so we got case status here. I'm gonna make this title. Okay. Case. Oops. Case status. Create that one. Very good, very good. All right, so the next one over. In the spreadsheet, it says priority types, which is the name of the table. Okay, very good. Make that the title. Priority types. Okay. Priority types. Very good. Create. All right, that's looking good. All right. All right, we have priority types. Now we just have 2 more. All right, so we have attendance. There we go. Make this the title, the name. Very good. Make sure I have the table name right. All right, we'll create there. Looking good, and now we just have 1 more. All right. Great. Next. All right. Very good. There we go. All right. So now we've got all of our tables. Isn't that cool? All right. So now, now the moment of truth here. We need to view our data sources, and we need to rip all these out. All right. So here we go. Remove. Ooh. Yeah, that doesn't look good, does it? Very good. So we'll add in a new data source here, and we'll do SharePoint, and we'll do service desk here. All right, so here we go, and we just check all these off here. Now we don't need documents. We got filter by priority types, ticket types. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, those are the 7 types. So if we did all this right, all those errors should just go away. And it doesn't look like it did. All right, so I am going to save this. Video is what I'll call that. I'll go back in there. Okay, now I'll just start looking at the errors one by one. So ticket types. Huh. Okay. ThisItem.ticket types. All right, so let me take that out. Yeah, it should be ticket types. All right. There are some cases with PowerApps where if PowerApps is freaked out, or in this case, we ripped out all the data sources, we added everything back in, that we might just need to close this down and reopen it. So I'm going to bring that off screen. I'm going to go to the File, pull down menu, and I want to save it one more time. Then I'm going to close it. I'm going to reopen it. And the reason why I took it off screen is I didn't want to show all my projects on the screen there. So that's what I'm doing there. And I'm going to go back to my apps and open that back up. Let's see here. Now, for some reason, I saved it and I closed it. Okay, there it is. Go back and edit that again. All right, so we're opening it back up. All right. So it does not like that. All right, so you guys are watching me troubleshoot this in real time. I do need to close my WhatsApp. It's a little annoying there. All right. So it's got a problem here. So ticket types. Let's open up our ticket types here. And we do have something called ticket types. So what's strange about this is when I said this item, okay, so here's all the columns. There's title. Look at that, field 0. Why? Why did it do field 0? That's crazy. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I don't like data tables at all, but for something like this, it's very useful. I'll give it a back color here so I can see it better. Okay, now I'm going to connect to ticket types. And it seems to open it just fine. Ticket types. So I don't know what's going on there. So it pulled up the data fine in the data table. Okay, so this is uncharted territory for me. I've never tried to fix this app before, with the exception of the few minutes before going live here. All right, so I'm going to insert a new gallery just to see if I can figure out what's going on with this other gallery. And you know what, this is sort of a good thing in that it shows you guys what I do to sort of troubleshoot problems. If you have no idea, is I try to recreate it in the same type of control and sort of strip out things and just sort of isolate the different things that could be causing the problem. So this gallery, I'm going to connect to ticket types. Okay. And then I'm going to add a label. Okay, ticket types. Does not like that. Huh. And it's got that field 0. What's in that field 0? That's what we're looking for, the field 0. All right. That's really strange. So this is ticket types within SharePoint, and I'm going to go to list settings. if I hover over ticket types, do you see that at the very bottom of the screen? At the very end of that query string, it says ampersand field equals field underscore 0. That's awful. That's awful. So I'm going to try to fix that because I would hate to refer to it as field 0, and everything refers to ticket types. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to field 0. Okay. Then I'm going to create a new column. Ticket types. And that's what it is expecting, ticket types. Just to make sure here. Yeah, it's looking for ticket types. That's what I'll call this. Hopefully it'll allow me to create it. So now if I hover over this, it actually has the field name of ticket types. Okay, so I'm gonna bring over a button. That's not what I wanted. I want the button outside of any galleries. Okay, and what this is gonna do, it's gonna fix the data. So this is gallery 1. So this is field 0, and I'm going to copy and paste. And this one, now what I need to do is I need to refresh the data source because PowerApps isn't aware of the change that I just made in SharePoint. So I'm going to find ticket types up here. Very good. Refresh. Now, my main question going down this road and dealing with all this, is there something that I could have done differently when I imported the data from the Excel spreadsheet that would have not caused that issue? And I don't know for sure. So I'm hoping I'm going to have to do this for all of them. Okay, so this one I'm going to say ticket types. I'll give it a little border so I can see when things are populated in there. All right, so this is gallery 1. And what I'm going to do is go over to this button and say, for all, gallery, all items, as my, that's a little alias that I always use when I do a for all. Okay. And what we'll do in here, we'll format the text so it breaks it up a little bit here. All right, so for every item in that gallery, what we're going to do is we're going to do a patch. And the first parameter is going to be looking at ticket types. Okay, that's the underlying data source. Move that over. All right, let's do a lookup here. We'll say ticket types. ID equals my.id. That's going to give us the record. So then here, ticket types, we'll say my dot field 0. Okay, and we need an ending parenthesis on the patch. Okay, hit save. All right, very good. So I'm gonna hit that button. There we go. You see it? See it going there? All right. Now look at this. It's fixed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it looks like it did it for all these columns here. So well, that's going to be a problem because I won't want to have to do that for them all. So Okay. All right, so the data that it's, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this button, I'm going to take that gallery, I'm going to do a Control X to cut, and I'm going to create a new screen and just paste it over there so it's not on that screen anymore. Okay, just in case we might need that in the future. Okay, so what I'm thinking is I probably should have created each of the SharePoint lists manually so those little fields aren't all messed up. Okay. So if I go over here, so this is looking at tickets. So let's go over and look at tickets. There we go. Yeah, do you see that? Down below it says field 1. Okay, the created looks fine. Modified is title is fine. See that? That's field 3. So it appears, if you're not seeing what I'm seeing, it's right down here at the very bottom when I hover over each of these. And the question that I have is, was it giving us the chance to change that before? So I'm sort of tempted to take tickets, delete it, and try it again. See if I can fix it on the import, because I really don't want to have to. I mean, it's got some good test data. I don't want to have to sit here and recreate all of those. Okay, so I'm going to create a new list from Excel. Take it off screen. Pull that in. Tickets. You see, it's got the names of them here. Yeah, it makes me believe I'm going to have to sort of recreate them all. Okay. So this is an example of if I was making this video and wasn't live streaming it, you guys wouldn't see any of this. You guys see if I were to build out a screen or work on an application, you guys would probably be seeing maybe an hour out of, probably took me 2 to 3 hours to actually shoot it all, to, record the video, and probably takes me a good, I don't know, an afternoon or an evening or 2 or 3, depending on how big it is, to sort of edit out all of the silence and the ums and the all that type of stuff. So all this type of stuff I would have cut out. But so unfortunately, I don't know how to tell SharePoint to create this list from an Excel spreadsheet without changing all these column names. So, and I think it's just a glitch of how SharePoint does this. You know what? Something that I have seen is I have imported data from Excel through Access into a SharePoint site. And it was actually really quick and really efficient. So I'm sort of tempted to try that out. So let's do a blank database. Let's try this out here. And I'm gonna, let's see here. I want to import external data, Excel. And the file is over on my desktop. Okay, so here it is. So I open up Excel, Access, Microsoft Access. I went to external data, and then there's a little button there for Excel. So I selected that Excel document, And I'm going to click OK. I just did that. Now I don't see any of the data. Yeah. New data source from file. Okay, so what I was just doing over here in Access on database tools, external data, sorry. So I was using Excel there. Okay. New data source from file. We're going to use Excel here. And I'm going to select my file. Okay, so I selected the file. Import the data source into a new table in the current database. That sounds great. Let's do that. All right, so we've got all these. ID, owner, status. This looks great. Okay. I like it. It's got some good test data in it. All right, so show worksheet. So we've got all these. Okay, so I'm going to click on tickets here. Your spreadsheet file contains more than one worksheet or range. Which worksheet or range would you like? So I might have to do these one by one. First row contains column headings. That is true. ID short text, no, that's going to be an integer. Index, yes. Owner is a short text. Status, yep, short text. Now, the date, I would actually like to say date. Okay, close date is going to be date. You guys probably didn't think this would be all that involved to move the data from Excel over to SharePoint, huh? Okay, subject short text, that's fine. Description, now I'd probably say long text for that. Or multiple lines of text. Okay, so priority, short text, assigned to short text, that's fine. Comments, I'd probably want that to be long text. Right. So I'll click on next. Let access add primary key. No, I want ID to be the primary key. And SharePoint probably isn't going to like that because it's got his own ID. I'm gonna say no primary key for now because it's not going to end up. It's not going to reside in Access in the end anyway. So I'm going to click on next here. Tickets, very good. Okay. So it created tickets. So we open that up, and it did not import the ID, which is fine. Open up this. Okay, I don't need to see that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, now we deleted tickets, so I'm going to hit refresh just to make sure there is no thing here called tickets. Okay, very good. And then got tickets there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to database tools, and I'm going to go to SharePoint. There we go. And let's, what SharePoint site do I want to use? Well, let me go get the URL to this site. And I do that by opening up this little PA link. Okay. Very good. I'm going to hit next. All right. So now we have tickets over there. All right. All right. Let's see what happened here. Refresh this. So we have tickets now. Okay. Now I'm going to go over here, and for data sources, I'm going to refresh this. It does not like that. It doesn't like it at all. I've never seen it here in the data sources like this. So I'm going to remove that and re-add it. Yay! Oh my goodness. What a huge headache, huh? All right. Let's see here. All right, so that's in there. Ugh. All right, so now I've got these warnings all over the place. So what's going on here? Okay, there's a group. Oh, cool. That's just a delegation warning that it's given us. That's fine. So, yeah, I won't address that now. So with I guess I will. The within the settings, where is it? General? Yeah, general. Okay. So the default row data limit is 500. You can increase this to 2,000. Okay. You can do that. And then, so as long as you have 2,000 or under 2,000, I should say under 2001 rows, you're not going to have any problems. Once you hit 2001, then what you'll want to do is actually do some type of filtering. Maybe to only look at tickets. You could filter it down to just the tickets in the last month, and then you'd probably be under 2,000 at that point. Okay. So that would probably fix any delegation issues if you, for all these queries, say for this text box here. Yeah, for tickets. So here within tickets, you could do a filter and just grab the stuff in the last 30 days or 90 days or something like that. And you'd probably have under 2,000, and that would get you around that delegation issue. Okay. So chances are these people that are looking at these tickets, they don't need to see tickets from 3 months ago or 4 months ago. Okay. So this screen looks like it's working. Yay. Okay. All right. So let me move on to the other screens, and I'm assuming we're going to have issues here. Okay. So this stuff is, okay, so we're looking at a form here. This form is looking at tickets. Okay. And so tickets should be working. So I don't know why we've got error. Okay, so it says type for default. That's really strange. So this is a text box. Now, I don't know why it says type. I would have assumed that we would have something here like parent.default. There we go. So I don't know. This template must be really old. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay, so instead of area, it should be parent.default. In fact, I will copy that little 2 forward slashes. The 2 forward slashes just comments something out. There. Okay. All right. We're getting it done. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do, I do like what they had here. So this if statement. But instead of looking at assign, I want to do the parent.default. All right. All right. I always like to save often to get those restore points. Okay. Grab that. Go in here. What do we got? Okay, parent.default equals closed. Okay, so we have this little data card here for priority. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the errors, it looks like. Now, for some reason, this text box is all it's all dark, so I don't know what's going on there. So that would be under fill, right? Okay, subject fill. Where does the subject fill come from? That is interesting. Okay, so I would assume that is a, so it says data type is color. Ticket details. That's what we're, so let's look at onVisible, and doesn't have any code there. So when does that variable get declared? So subject fill. All right, so we can go to file and then go down to variables. Subject fill. Dashboard page. Okay. Let me click on this and there we go. It seems to be working now. So very good. Very good. Now some of this looks cut off. That's strange. So we are on this ticket details page, and this is a rectangle. Okay. It just looks cut off here. I don't know why, but ugh. Okay. I'm gonna do something here. Might look weird initially, but you see how this is all sort of sloppy. I mean, why not space all this stuff out? You know. What I would do here is I would make all these. Well, I mean, all the labels here. Make them all the same height, like 30 maybe. Okay, then we click on all these value labels, and maybe those should be 40. Okay. Let me space this out a little bit here. Okay. And it would make sense in my mind if they all had the same width, right? So let's up the width to maybe 300 or 250. Ooh. 250 or 220. Pretty good. Nope. Another 0 in there. All right. Okay. Now let's move this up a little bit. We've got plenty of space here. I don't know why it was all crammed in there. All right, so we got this rectangle down here. We'll move that back. Okay. And now, you know, they don't need to have all that border there. Now what I'd like to do, see this rectangle here? It's got a specific width. What I'd like to do is why not have all these have the same width as that rectangle. So for the width, we'll go in here and we'll say rectangle dot width. And then we'll also take away that border. And something that I'm thinking about is why not have all these be in a group together? All right. So not only are we getting this little template to work, but we're sort of making it a little better here. All right. Very good. Okay. Let's check on all these other guys. Okay, so we have a sign too. Let's see what's going on here. ThisItem dot name, and I'm sure it's probably field 0. So this table is a lot smaller. So we're looking at, okay, this is a gallery. The data source is, if that's blank, then we filter that. Okay. Okay. So looking at attendance. So we have name there. Let me see if I can fix this fairly easily. I mean, it's only one field that we really care about here, right? So without going into access and doing all that type of stuff, yeah, let's go into site settings. I'm sorry, list settings. Title modified page. Okay, so there's name. And that's the field 0. So we'll say field 0. So when I'll create one called name. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go back in here and you can edit it in a grid view. We'll select all the names. Control C, Control V. Look at that! Yay! Exit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to view data sources, and that was attendance. We'll refresh. Yay! Oh, it was a lot easier. Okay, so we'll go through each of these screens here and do the same thing. So what this does is look at case status. All right, so we'll go here. Well, first of all, we don't need field 0 anymore. So I feel like that's clutter. We need to clean that out. List settings, okay. Field 0, let's just delete that. Okay. And we need to refresh it here since we changed it. Okay. Case status. And this is status case. Okay. Yeah, look at that down there. Field 0. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. Field 0. Bada bing, bada boom. I feel like we're getting close, guys. Okay. Very good. Exit that, and we'll go back and get rid of that field 0. Delete. All right, so that's been done. Yay. It's looking good. Area page. All right, account name types. All right, so I'm looking up here at the chat. It says, can I ask a question? What data source are you using? So great question. So you probably started in midway, of course. So when you use this template within PowerApps, it's using an Excel spreadsheet. And so what the big task was is that we're recreating all these data sources, each individual data source over in SharePoint. And that's been a huge source of boring work here. So we are using SharePoint. Now you could use something like Data Source or SQL Server, and we probably wouldn't have had the same problem because SharePoint has a way of sort of when you're importing stuff from, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet, it creates some weird field names, which is what we've learned today. So that's what we're using. We're using SharePoint. SharePoint's great if you don't have a premium license, especially you're working for your employer, and they don't want to flip the bill for premium licensing for everybody at the organization or all the people that will be using the PowerApps. But they're like, hey, well, we have SharePoint. Just use a SharePoint list. So in a lot of places, that's what people do, and that's why it's so popular. Okay, so SharePoint is the answer to that question. So. All right, so we have account names. Okay, so we've got, hover over this account name type. So it says field 0. So we need to copy that into the clipboard. Okay, and then we will call this field 0. All right. Oh, we need to add that field type real quick. Single line of text. All right, so we'll go into edit grid view and we'll copy these 3 departments. So if you want to add any new departments, now's a good time to add those. But all right, so I'm going to go back in here, list settings, and I'm going to take out this field 0. Okay, and what I'm going to do is go into view, data sources. And accounting types. Look at that. We're making progress, guys. All right, so this gallery is priority types. All right, so we're going to go into site contents. We'll look at priority types. Go into the list settings, priority types, and as you can see down here, field 0. I'll copy that, call this field 0. Now we'll add a new column here, priority types. Pretty good. Edit in the grid view, copy, paste, exit grid view, go in and take out that field 0. All right, now that that's gone, priority types needs to be refreshed. And it works. All right, so this one looks like it's gonna work just fine. Okay, I don't see any errors. Oh, could we be done? I feel like maybe there's some other of these tables. Do we fix them all? We must have. All right. But if we didn't, we'll know exactly what to do. All right. So we're looking at all tickets here. And to be honest, I'm looking up at the chat to see if you guys are suggesting any particular type of edits. But you know what? You can, these descriptions, it's got this weird rectangle that's sitting here. So when you select the rectangle, it does all this. Why? So it navigates away. So if you click on it, so I guess what they wanted to simulate, if like you click on the row, it just goes off. Okay, I see why they did that. I don't know that that's necessary though, because perhaps this was done with an old version of PowerApps where you can actually click on the gallery, go into action, and it has an on select where you can deal with that. So perhaps, you know, Microsoft does change PowerApps over the years or months, and in my opinion, you know, they make it better, which is good. Sometimes they'll do something and you know, like you know, it just works differently over time. So I think that's what we're dealing with here. So we'll have to go find the text box. I don't know that that needs to be so tall. So here, let's make that more like, that's a weird number. Okay, so instead of 70, let's make it like 60. And then we can move that down a little bit. It just seems like really sort of taking up a lot of space there. So also, especially if we're going to have to use this tree view to click on these different labels, it'd be nice if they were labeled properly. For example, this one right here, it is looking at description. So why not say txt description? That would be so much nicer. So you can actually see it over here, okay? And I wouldn't want it so close to that little icon there. Okay, so I'm looking for this other label up here. So I'm going to click around until I find it. There it is. So this is looking at subject. So let's call this txt subject. Okay, and I don't know that the font needs to be that big. Maybe 13. And let's move that down a little bit. Very good. Okay, so it looks a little better. All right. All right, so I'm looking at the comments in the chat. I don't see any new comments for suggestions, but I think we're doing good now, guys. All right, so we've got 11 tickets and one new ticket here. So let's add a new ticket. Okay. I can't do my work. And let's say I'm in the facilities or the HR department and say nothing works. Please come help. Oh, look at this. ID, the specified column is generated by the server and can't be specified. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. What are we trying to specify in this button? Oh, we're doing a patch. That's cool. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we don't need to specify an ID. Well, actually, let's see, subject and description is blank, okay. Huh. Well, this is just a lookup. I don't know why. Let's try that again and see what it said again here. Okay, so it's given us a problem. So saying that we couldn't specify one. Now, these are the two columns that we're specifying, a subject and a description. Interesting. So we're dealing with tickets. So let's just go look at tickets. Let's see what's going on inside this list here. ID. Why? Huh. That's really strange. We have an ID column. That's really strange. Huh. Okay. If the subject line is blank or the description is blank, then we're probably going to show a message. That's what's going on. But that wasn't the issue. Otherwise, it's going to submit the form. So there's a form. Okay, and then we do a patch. Okay, all right. So the problem is probably with this form. Wow. I never knew I'd have so many problems trying to get this template to work, man. All right. So we've got a card here. Let's make all the cards available. Date created. Yeah, you don't want to specify that. Okay, because, well, a SharePoint list has a created, okay? But then this has date created. That's fine. So that's not the problem, okay? Let's go find the column that is the problem. Status new, okay? That seems right on. Here we go. Here's one. It's trying to specify the ID. Okay, all right. So that is probably what's going to give us the problem. And then inside of there, look at that. We're looking at max tickets ID, and it increases by 1. So this is written to be used within Excel. And Excel doesn't have an auto-incrementing ID like SharePoint does. So I'm thinking that we need to remove this one. Yeah. Let's look at some of the advanced properties here. Data field ID, display name ID, required false. Okay, so I think that's what the culprit is there. What I'm confused about is ID has no value. Like, what is going on there? You know? Perhaps we messed that up by using access to move the things in. Perhaps. Okay. So I'm going to look at these other data cards. So we get area, priority, created by. Yeah, I think this is going to be the problem right here. So I'm going to copy this over into my Notepad++, just in case, but I'm going to delete this. Okay, and I'm going to click on the button, and it worked. Now, what didn't seem to work too well is where did our subject inscription? I think what happened was, guys, is okay, on the new screen, because we have one screen for new tickets and we have another screen for editing tickets. Let's go create a new ticket. Okay, so what happened under this button, this line created an error, generated an error. And then what happens is this this line of code didn't work, didn't run. Okay, so what I want to do, I wonder if this app has a way to delete. So I don't see a way of deleting something like, I mean, we could type in the stuff here. I can't do my work. Nothing works. Please come help. And for internal comments, we'll say, they just needed to turn their computer on. Okay, and let's change the status to something else. Let's close it. So we went over there and plugged in their computer and turned it on for them. Let's assign it to somebody. Now, I don't see these values coming in here, so what's going on with this? Attendance, maybe that's one of them that we still needed to fix. Open that up. Look at that, field 0. Oh, name. Yay. All right, so we'll pick somebody. We'll pick Karen. Karen will deal with this person. And we're going to save it. There we go. So now it's showing up. All right, now let's create a new ticket. And say, new ticket, new description. We'll make them facilities and we'll click create ticket. Okay. It's working. All right, very good. So let's just click around new tickets. So these are all the new tickets. Now, something I do notice here, guys, is looking up at the comments. All right, there's this label here. Right here. This date created. I don't know that we really need the time stuff in there. Some might say date, date value, and put parentheses around it. Okay, so it looks better. Date created. All right, so something I'm a little confused about is why these other fields don't have it, but I mean, we could create a little admin screen that just clears out all this test data so we have something fresh and new, because that data is being saved properly now. Date created. This is interesting here. And what's up with that little dotted, that dashed line that we saw? Okay. Okay, so if we create a new ticket, it's over here on this form. Do you remember that? Okay. Date created. Okay, so date created. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I'd want to know what time it was created, at least capture that. So we got today. All right, let's use now. Okay, So we'll do now, and we'll do a Control S to save this. Go back over here. All right. So, you know, maybe we do want the time over there. It's so hard to get at that. There we go. And in fact, we don't need the word date in there. We just say created. There you go. So now, you know what would be nice is if we used the text function. There we go. And we'll say month, day. And then hour, minute, AM, PM. Okay. I like that. I mean, do we really need to know the year? I mean, we could put that in. Year, whatever. We got plenty of space for it now. Okay. So now if I were to create a new one, a really new ticket, the description, let's paste that over and over again and click create. See what we get here. Oh my goodness. What is going on? That's just silly. So I think there was another error. That's what's weird about using a form and also using a patch is I'd want to put that either all in one or the other. Now I prefer using patches over forms. So I already want to rewrite this whole app. It could do it completely different. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to get this template up and running. All right. Now, what's this timer in here for? Refresh tickets. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this. Duration is 100. Like, really? So if you guys aren't familiar with the timer, this thing is refreshing every 100 milliseconds. Why? Oh my goodness. Okay, so it does make sense to have a timer here to refresh the data source, because if you have 10 different people working in IT, working on tickets, if somebody else creates a ticket, you want to be able to see that ticket on yours. Okay, so PowerApps is very well and aware of, as you add new records, it's going to be aware of it, and it's going to display those new records elsewhere in the app. So it doesn't need to refresh it from that standpoint. But if you have concurrent users in the same application, you do have to use this some type of a refresh. But 100 milliseconds, that's 1/10 of a second. What I would say what would be good is maybe every 10 seconds, maybe, or gee whiz, let's open up a calculator here. Okay. Let's make it once a minute. So that'd be, I was going to say, okay, so 1,000 milliseconds times 60, so that's 60,000. Okay. I was thinking maybe 3 minutes or something, but okay. All right. So every minute, that should be fine. And it just looks like they've got it invisible. Yeah, false. There you go. So that's what's going on there. There's a text box over here. What's going on with this text box? That's weird, huh? Visible, false. What is going on? Why wouldn't you display that? You know, if you're dealing with tickets and, I don't know. It's not a bad idea to have the date up there. I don't know. Like if I'm looking at tickets here, blah, blah, blah. Well, what is today? I guess you always look at your task bar, but you know, you could be using this on a tablet or something, and I don't know. What else we got here? We got a button. Okay, that's a button. Okay. It navigates away. I probably would have put that new form before it, but I think it works. But so anyway, there must have been an error. on this submit form, and perhaps that's why it didn't save the title. And you know what we could do that would make this a lot better? Let's go back over that screen. So check this out. If you want to sort of consolidate this stuff, so if there's an error in one, it just doesn't blow past and ignore the other coding statement. We'll go into edit fields, and this control isn't connected to any data yet. Okay, so that's a little strange. All right. Well, what I was gonna say was that is really strange. You'd think that would be connected to tickets. Does a submit form new ticket form, and this is the new ticket form right there. So let's investigate this a little more here. Advanced. On success, it navigates away and it resets the form. Okay. On reset, false. On failure, false. Okay. So I wonder what was the problem before. I'm just gonna put some garbage stuff in here and see if I can recreate that error. Okay. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do now. So on this form, it's got an on success. So I'm gonna comment this out. And I don't want it to go anywhere. I want to see that error. I'm going to get out. Okay, I don't see any error. Okay, so let's go back into site contents. Let's look at tickets. Okay, so this ID, it's having a hard time with ID, I believe. Maybe that's what's going on. I would have thought that when we specified it by importing from Access, it would have an issue. So I'm just sort of curious if I were to put numbers in here, like, is it going to allow me to do that? Typically, SharePoint would not allow you to do that. So okay. This is what I can do. I can provide that value right here. Okay. Let's try that. Okay, I think that worked because these two numbers increased. Okay. Go back to the dashboard here. Whew. That's really strange. You know what's not being provided is a title. And I don't know that we do have a title. We do have a title. Okay, it's not required. let's take a look at this. Oh, look, there's an underscore ID. That is hilarious. All right. There we go. Look at that. Increíble. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys. This is funny. All right. This still doesn't explain why it's okay. So it is being created. These rows are being created. All right. So this form's working, but the second thing is not. So what is the deal with this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to create a new button here. Okay, format this. So we don't need that anymore. Oh, I see what it's doing. So it's going to go get the record that was just added. But why do it like that? So this form, new ticket form, okay, go over to this button. Instead of doing that, we should be able to, okay. So form has got a last submit.id. Okay, there you go. Maybe that's what's going on. Well, let's try it out. Okay. Now we'll go back. Hey, that was it. Guys, I know this has got to be unbearably boring, but this is what software development's like. You know, if somebody, were to come to my job, and these days I work completely remote, but, all my other jobs were as a software developer that wasn't remote. I went in the office and you were to come to work with me, it would be just all day long of this, if you consider this boring, just boring stuff like this, and just dealing with all kinds of weird little glitches that come up. This is what software development's like. So I'm very used to it. And I'm used to sitting and looking at screen. I have a personality type. I'm an introvert, so I can deal with staring at computer screens all day. So, but I'll have you guys along for the trip. So hopefully that you're liking this. So I see somebody, Marcin says hello. Hello, Marcin. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. Kudos to you guys. If any of you guys have been following me from the beginning of this, I don't know how long this has been going. This may have been going for 2 hours or so. I don't know. I think we're in a good shape, guys. So if you guys have anything that you would like to see added to this, I'd be really interested in hearing if anybody is trying to get this to work so you can use it for your job. Now, going back here, we want to take this button out because we don't need that anymore. And we also need to, on this success, we actually do need it to go back to that screen and reset that form. Okay, so we're going to do that. I'm going to hit save. And if you're using this, you want to do a publish. Okay. Now, I'm not really seeing any questions in the chat here. So what I'll be doing, I get an alert whenever somebody comments on any of these videos, and at some point I go in and respond to them. So so far everything on my channel, every single comment, I responded to every single comment. So if you feel like you're going to leave a comment, nobody's going to look at it, or that I won't look at it, that's false. I do look at them. And in fact, I see a comment almost as sort of cooler than a like, you know, because you know, out of view, we got tons of views, or let's say we got ton of views on the channel on all these videos, and then there's a subset of that, probably 10 to 20% actually subscribe. And then there's even a smaller amount that actually click on that like button, and then there's a smaller amount that actually comment. So if I actually had a comment on a video, I get all excited. So just FYI. So I'd like to hear about, like, if you guys are going to use this application template that we got to work here, and we sort of transitioned it over to SharePoint. If I were going to do this, I'd probably recreate the whole thing, because there's a lot of weird things in here that I don't like. But hey, it's not bad. I always thought it looked sort of cool with all these different colors and stuff. Now, these colors on the side of these change based on, I think, what status they are. So maybe new ones are these purple. Well, let's just try it out. Let's click on here and change this to, yeah, see, it's like in progress is yellow, on hold is red, and closed. Let's change that to on hold. Okay, then go back up here to all. Oh, I see somebody else. So I came in late, so I'm not sure you talked about lists or table relationship on this app. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Design My City. If you talked about list or table relationship. Yes. So what we did, these the data in here was from this template was using an Excel spreadsheet. So we've imported that into SharePoint. So let me show you what we've got here. We've got these, you could call these database tables, not really database tables, or SharePoint lists. So if a DBA heard me say that, they'd probably cringe. But there really aren't any type of, I mean, there is a logical relationship between these tables, these entities here, but it's purely logical. There's nothing like, let's say if you're working with Microsoft SQL Server, you would actually create these columns that you'd have these foreign key constraints and these relationships based on the primary key, foreign key. We don't necessarily have that here. So if we open up tickets, okay, so before we go into tickets, look at all these other things: account name types, attendance, case status, filter by, all that type of stuff. If you go in, and there's ticket types as well, priority types. So you go into tickets, what you'll notice here, now we don't really need to see this weird ID, and the title actually isn't being used for anything. So I'm actually going to hide that ID and that title. So those aren't even being used in the application at all. Okay. So the status, so this was a separate table. And we just, whatever one that they select is actually thrown into these single line of text. In a lot of cases, this is how I write my PowerApps applications. I just throw the text in there. Now that does violate database normalization. So if you've ever studied database design, that's not necessarily good database design, but we're not really working with a real database system. You know, we could, it just sort of makes, in the case of PowerApps, it sort of makes it work better, I guess. I mean, in the case of, like, let's say this account name says IT. So these are the different departments. Okay, so this is account names. So let's go over here and look at account names. Yeah, account name types. So if you look at the data, IT, facilities, HR. So those are names of departments. Well, let's say we change this IT to information technology. Okay, that isn't going to magically change all the other records of type tickets in their column. It's not going to change it from IT to information technology. So that's where, when you're breaking normal form, how it sort of breaks down. That's the sort of the drawback. But if you're going to make it a business rule, this name will never change, then that's okay. Otherwise, if you want to avoid the normalization thing here, is we'd have this account name, but then we'd have this ID. What you'd want to do is, if you want to do this right, you've got this ID here, okay, and that will be this auto ID, and that will be the unique identifier, okay, and then over on tickets, instead of actually having the department names in here for account name, we'd probably call this department ID. And it would just be a bunch of numbers, okay? Then that would point over and you'd find this ID. And then, so if this name changes, it would change throughout the whole system. So that would be a better way of doing it. And this is somewhat of a simple app. If you guys want a good example of how I deal with relationships between tables, I have a whole playlist here on the channel where I build out a work order system for a garage. And in fact, I'm still working on that. I'm probably 80% done. Actually doing it for a real client. It's for a garage out in California. And you can see how I build out apps. And so that's a good example. So if you're on my channel and you want to check that out, go over to playlists and you'll find the playlist there. It's called Work Order System for a Garage, I think is what it's called there. So hopefully that answered your question, Design My City. So anyway, just to reiterate, I'd love to hear in the comments section, even in the future, even if you didn't make this live airing of this video, leave your comments. I will go in and, you know, I could create a follow-up to this and answer those questions, and maybe we could just build on top of this. So if anybody's going to be using this for work, we could just sort of build onto this. And right now, guys, I'm considering doing this more regularly. This is my first time doing a live cast like this, a live video. So I'm seriously considering doing this once a weekend. So probably on Saturday afternoons is when I'll do that. And I just wanted to do a quick little live session here and see how it went. And I'll probably get better at it and probably use something like StreamYard so I can stream on other platforms at the same time, like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all at the same time, and hopefully get a little bit more engagement. But hope you guys like this. And if I don't see any more comments, I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down and let this roll out. And hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. And if you have any ideas for videos, anything specific that you're dealing with in your PowerApps journey, please let me know. It gives me ideas for future videos and other live videos. So that's where I'm going to leave it at. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Now, how do I stop a live cast? I have no idea. Stop streaming. There we go.